All right, let's get right into it. So, the 2024 new player sheet. Here it is, voila, in all of its beauty. If you don't have a link, there will be one kind of below the video so you can check it out and get it for yourself. This particular one is fillable, done by somebody on Reddit, but I didn't stick around long enough to catch their name, so my bad. But thank you to them, and let's go ahead and fill it out. Ideally, you will print this out and be filling it out with a pencil beside you, but if not, then such is the way. Do what you're gonna do. Now, when we're thinking about making a character, the first thing that we want to think about is what kind of character we want to make. We don't even want to look at any of this. Just shut it all down, forget it exists, and instead focus on what you think you want to play. So if you have an idea in mind already, then you can really narrow it down from there already. But if you don't, then the number one question that I always ask is, do you want to be magical? Because that will immediately narrow it down to people. So if the answer is no, you want to start over here with the barbarian, and they are a bit tanky. They generally run around with no armor, or little armor, I guess. Imagine like Hercules from that Hercules TV show a billion years ago, or maybe even Xena. I could see Xena being a barbarian. She'd be a barbarian or fighter. Anyways, so they are really tanky. They take less damage. They're really agitated, I feel like is the word I want to say. But they're fun. They're great to play. If tanking doesn't appeal to you, though, then maybe a fighter will float your boat. They could be anything from an archer to a dual wielder to sword and shield. Whatever you want them to do, they're kind of like your catch-all. They'll be able to do whatever you want them to do. There's also a monk, which are super quick, and they have the ability to catch things coming at them. So if somebody shoots an arrow at you, you could catch it and possibly even throw it back at them. So it's super fun. There's also the ranger, who's kind of like Legolas, Strider. They kind of like hang out in the wilderness. They're good at camping, finding terrain, hunting specific things, that kind of stuff. They're generally good with animals, so that's their overall vibe. They don't turn into animals or anything though, but most of the time they do have an animal familiar at some point. I'm not sure if that's built into their class or not, but I know that lots do have a familiar of some kind. And then we have our rogues, who are basically our thieves. Every team needs a good thief. Otherwise, how will you, steal the treasure and take out the traps and so on and so forth. So the rogues are really big damage dealers, but they kind of put all their eggs in one basket. So if you make that hit, you do big numbers. If you don't make that hit, you do nothing. So being a rogue is kind of hit or miss. You see what I did there? Anyways. If you do want to go with magic, then you might want to go with an artificer. They're basically like Iron Man. They make all kinds of fun stuff. They have a little turret that follows them around, which can cast like a healing mist, or it can become a flamethrower, or just shoot like force damage out of it. They can also have guns, which is pretty cool. So if you want to play D&D but you also want to have a shotgun, then maybe an artificer is for you. If that doesn't float your boat and you're more of a support character, then you might be interested in a bard. Bards generally are not gonna do big numbers, and they have some healing, but they're not priority healing. They're more so like support, and they're kind of more tricky, I would say. Like they have more utility to them. Yeah, that's the word, utility. So they can make other team members better. If that doesn't appeal and you want more heals, or you just want heals, then you probably want to go with a cleric, specifically a life domain cleric, if that's what you're aiming. If you want to be a healer, life domain cleric is for you. However, you can be a cleric and not do any healing at all. You could be like a grave domain cleric and just watch all of your party members die. Like, you could do, you could play however you want to play, and you could have an entire team of clerics and you'd be just fine. Next we have the druid. So they are like rangers but hardcore. So they're, the people who wear antlers and twigs and green and that kind of stuff, or maybe even turn into animals. I had Maui from Moana because he turns into like a shark and stuff. So that's kind of like the druid vibes. Next we have our paladin, which I thought about potentially putting over here, but they do have magic. They're basically a fighter mixed with a cleric. And they have an oath. That's their whole vibe, is they make an oath, and that is what they stick by and live by. They're usually lawful because they have this oath that they have to go by. And if they break their oath, then they become an oath breaker, and that's a whole fun thing for you and your DM to figure out. Woo-hoo! But they are big numbers and tanky. So if you want like the best of both worlds, then I would go there. They also have a self-heal, which is pretty sweet. But they can heal other people with that self-heal as needed, but usually they use it for themselves. Fighters also have a small self-heal, if that's what you're worried about. Sorcerers basically woke up winning life. They have magic. They woke up. They don't have to think about it. They just are born with it naturally. So they are just magical geniuses, maybe you'll say. Yeah, they're just born lucky. Silver spoon of magic. So that's like your Harry Potter, Scarlet Witch. They don't have to study for it. They didn't make a deal. They just have it. A warlock is someone who's basically sold essentially their soul for some kind of magic ability. So it could be like a genie, like Jafar from Aladdin, how he gets his magic from something else. There is like a genie subclass in warlock. That's totally a thing. Or maybe you sold like it's to a devil or to a demon or something like that. It could be whatever you want it to be. It's warlock. That's the vibe. The thing with the warlock is they only have 2 spell slots. However, all of their stuff is cast at the highest level when you cast it. Then we have wizards, who are not crazy enough to sell any parts of themselves, and they were not lucky enough to be born with it. And they're not religious to get their magic from there either. So instead, they turn to studying, and they just study so much until they become the best wizards in the whole world. And they have usually a spell book that they keep a bunch of spells with them. So they have a lot more versatility, and they'll generally focus in one kind, including necromancy. But I mean, not everybody goes into that. Lots of people choose abjuration. That's kind of like your damage spells, like your firebolt, fireball, etc., etc. But that's your Doctor Strange vibe. So choose which one of those you feel like you want to play when you are making your character. So I am going to make a character with you, and I am actually going to make a edgelord cleric. So I'll go over to my character sheet, and we'll go up here to where it says class and put in cleric. Nice. We will go into subclass and all of that later. First things first, cleric. Next, we're going to choose our species. So we need to open our book, which I'm doing this online so that you can easily see it, but I also have a book. I would recommend a book if you have one. If you don't, then AnyFlip is super awesome at having books that you can just use and read for free, which is awesome. So our species, 186. We're going to head over there and take a look. So first we have our Aasimars. They're basically like fallen angels. It either could be fallen angel that has been down through the bloodline and you kind of woke up like that, or you Actually, yeah, that's the only one that I know. There might be other ones. I haven't really looked into it that much. But that's the vibe. You're a fallen angel. Look at his little angel wings there. So beautiful. Okay, next is Dragonborn. They are essentially lizard people, but they breathe fire, so they're kind of well, I mean, they breathe something, but lizardy. Dragon humans. So depending on which color you choose, you get a different thing. So black is acid, gold is fire, and there are different kinds of fire, like brass is also fire. I'm not sure if they changed it in the new one yet or not, but in the old one of them is kind of in a straight line and the other's in a cone. So yeah, just whichever one you want to go with, and if you want to be able to have a breath weapon once a day, then that's pretty sweet. It looks like it's the same. Yeah. Okay, it's no longer one or the other. It's just what's written in here. Next we have a dwarf, which everybody knows and loves, I hope. Get some Lord of the Rings fans, get some Moria going on. Short and stout, very blacksmith-like. Or tinkery. Then we have our elves. Our elves are super fun because you could drop a batch of elves anywhere and you would make a sub-race out of them. So the ones that are in this book are drow, high elf, and wood elves. So they are different just based on where they're coming from, and each one is going to give you a different ability. But I wouldn't go based on that. Depending on your play style, just go with what you feel like you want to play rather than by your stats. Unless you're a min-maxer, then go by your stats and live your best life. That's what we're here for, having fun. So the drow basically live in the Underdark. They are generally considered evil, but you're a player, so players aren't typically evil. Sometimes they do evil things, but are generally more neutral. But that's up to you and your DM's discretion. High elves are really hoity-toity. They generally are in cities, and think Rivendell. Lots of Lord of the Rings in here today. And then we have wood elves, which is your Legolas, etc., etc. Yeah, super fun stuff. Then we have gnomes, which are little tinkerer, wizard type things. They are 3 to 4 feet tall, which I think is actually taller than a halfling. I thought it was the other way around. So that's fun, and they will either live in the forest or in the mountains. And if you're playing any particular games, they may have some of them as NPCs, which are very fun to find. Next we have Goliaths, which are really, really big. They are basically a mini giant. They're humanoid still, and they're very strong. They live typically in mountain areas, and then will come down maybe if they get kicked out of their clan or they need to find food or something. You can decide why your giant has decided to leave his clan, but they are very competitive, I think that's the right word. They compete with each other really often and are super duper strong. Next we have halflings, which are 2 to 3 feet tall. See, they are shorter than gnomes. It's mind-boggling. They're like hobbits. I feel like that's the best way to describe them. Hobbits, halflings. Very cool. And they have this thing called luck. And so basically if you roll a D1, well, I'm saying basically a lot. We should make a game out of it or something. But if you roll a 1 as a halfling, then you can re-roll it once, but you have to use whatever comes up the second time. Next, we have our humans, which are pretty basic. everyone knows what a human is. Then we have orcs, which are kind of like a cross between a human and a Goliath. They're just bigger, angrier, green humans. I mean, you don't have to be angry. You can play your character however you want, but that's their overall vibe. And last but not least, we have tieflings, which have these cool horns coming out of their head. They are born in the lower planes, or they have some kind of fiendish ancestor. And lots of people in the world kind of don't like them because of that. Lots of prejudice in D&D. I think there's less of that going on now, though. But they're a fun race, and they're kind of cool to just check out. They kind of range from purple to red. Wow, I've never seen a green one before. Interesting. But I've seen loads of white ones. That's definitely a thing. All the tieflings of the rainbow. Okay, so with my character, I've decided that we're going to do an edgelord cleric. And what would be the best for an edgelord? You could also choose to roll. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to roll. So I'm going to take out my handy dandy roll dice and just get it ready. First I'm going to pick some races. Can you imagine an edgelord ASMR? Amazing. I think 1 is going to be dwarf. I don't want to be an elf. 2 is going to be a Goliath. 3 is going to be a halfling, and 4 is going to be an orc. Alright, let's see what the dice choose for us. 4, we're choosing an orc. We're going to have an edgelord orc. Oh yeah! So in your species, choose whichever species that you have chosen. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in the information that it gives us. So our creature type is humanoid, and our size is medium, and our speed is 30 feet. So our speed, 30 feet, and our size is medium. Also, feel free to pause this as much as you need to fill out your information for what you choose. Okay, after we have those basic things at the top, we will add the next things going in. I'm just going to make this smaller so that it's easier to just copy over. Okay, so we'll go over to species traits and then write in whatever we're doing. So we get an adrenaline rush, which is bonus action dash. When you do gain dash plus temp HP. Cool. And then we'll put prof bonus because it's our proficiency bonus. Nice. And we can do this equal times to our proficiency bonus, which right now I think is 1 at level 1. I'm going to duplicate this page so that I can have my class and race open at the same time. What did we pick? We picked cleric. 68. Um, 68 level 1 proficiency bonus is +2. So you can go ahead and add that in there because you're going to start off with +2. Awesome. I guess we can put level 1 for now. We're going to level up to level 3, but just so that it's in there. Okay, so where was I? Over here. Adrenaline rush equal times up to your proficiency bonus and regain after a short or long rest. That's super cool. Okay, so because we have 2, we're just going to put 2 big O's there. And then after we use them, we'll just like cross it out. And then when we get it back, we'll just erase it. back on... I'm just going to put back on rust because it's back on either. And then we also get dark vision 120 feet. That's pretty cool. And relentless endurance, which is you drop to 1 instead of 0. 1 HP instead of 0. Once per long rest. Alright, do we get any other cool stuff? No. Okay, so we're done our species thing. So make sure you add in all of the stuff that you need from there. After that's done, we are going to go ahead and pick a background. So, for our background, we're going with an edgelord cleric who is poor. Why would they be poor? What could they have possibly done? Where the heck are my backgrounds? They're in here somewhere. Backgrounds. There they are. Whew, that was a struggle. Okay, so these are the backgrounds that are in the book. As you can see, they all come with something. However, I find these backgrounds to be lacking. So I prefer to go to this link right here and I look at all of these backgrounds and choose one of them instead. I would avoid using these ones at the bottom since they're not really done or whatnot, and instead kind of stick up with the top. And then just basically pick whatever you think was going to be good for your character. So for our character that we're making, we have cleric who is poor. Maybe he was an orphan. Maybe he's an edgelord. Maybe he ran away from home. Maybe he ran away from home because he wanted to be cool, like an edgelord, and his parents were not cool, so he ran away from them. This one is it's a different color. I'm gonna choose it. Cannibal. Alright, so I'm gonna choose Cannibal for my cleric. Cannibal. And no, his name will not be Hannibal. We can't do it. Nope, can't do it. Okay, so with our Cannibal, we will gain some skill proficiencies, which is the exact same as we would do in here. So we would get ability score things. Maybe let's move this over. Also, maybe I'll just... Oh, no. I tried to zoom in to get away from that hideous picture, but I can't. It's stuck there. Okay, so there is survival. So we're going to go over here and we're going to find survival. There it is. And we're going to bubble it in. And then we also get deception. So we're going to bubble that one in too. Easy peasy. Tool proficiencies. Cook's utensils. So that's down here in tools. And we'll write cook's utensils. Makes sense for a cannibal to have cooking utensil skills. And then equipment. So this is where we're going to get some of our stuff. Alright, what are we getting? You know what? I'm going to just copy and paste this. And then sort it out from there. So, traveler's clothes. 2 knives. A recipe book for how to safely prepare various reasons for consumption. And a belch pulse of... Okay, so instead of having it here, we're going to bring it down over here and put our 5 gold in there. Okay, so that gives us those, and then we get a feature. So we get the feature those of a different taste. So we'll go ahead and put that up in feats. So those of a different taste. And we're also just going to put background for background. Okay. And then ideally we want to shorten this, but it's okay. We're not going to do that right now just because we're making a super quick, awesome video. It's to get the point across. So for our personality, we can choose to make up whatever we want, or we can go off these suggestions based on our backstory. And okay, so we have an edgelord cleric who's poor. They ran away from home, and they are super cool. They're cannibal. Oh my gosh, how about cooking is a wonderful outlet for me? Is that very edgy though? I don't think that's very edgelord. Fear is the best way I introduce myself. Or what if he just really likes to hide in shadows? Yeah, a cleric that likes to be in the shadows. I like to stand majestically. How do you spell majestically? Majestically. That doesn't look right. Oh well. Majestically in shadows. Looking super cool. Okay, so our ideal. Definitely the third one. I want to try all the species and monsters in the world. Maybe he could be working on a cookbook. Or maybe he just has like a bucket list and he writes it off. I keep track. Yeah, just keep track. And maybe in a notebook. Okay. Next we have a bond. My tribe has practiced this. They're an orc, that would make sense. But we're deciding that he ran away. So maybe I would like to know what love tastes like. That seems way too risque. Let's go with I ran away from my parents and had to eat somehow. ... Then we'll write cannibalism. Beautiful. Okay, and then our flaw. So for our flaw, edgelord. Edgelords always have that hair that like comes down in front of their face, right? Maybe their hair is dyed somehow, like really badly dyed. Maybe with like charcoal from the fire. And it has to be pristine. Nobody can touch my hair. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay. Nobody can ever touch my hair. It must be perfect. Oh, I ran out of space. We'll take out cannibalism. Nobody can... what's all these spaces? Nobody can ever touch my hair. Beautiful. Okay, just like that, our background's done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. What have we got next? We will head back to our cleric stuff. Okay, So we head on over here and let's see what we get. Our primary ability is Wisdom. Hit point die is going to be a D8. We're just going to go over here, and instead of writing it in max, because your max will always just be the spell level you are, we will put D8 because that is what our hit dice is, and there's no other place to write it. Okay, our saving throw proficiencies are Wisdom and Charisma. So we're going to go down and find our Wisdom and our saving throw, and we're going to color that in. And our second one is Charisma. Perfect, that makes sense. You know, he's a bit edgy. He needs people to care about what he looks like, so maybe he needs to deceive them or persuade them. This is good. Matches our vibe. Okay, skill proficiencies. With what we know about our man, does he care about history? No, I don't think so. Insight. Insight is kind of like what you think of people. Like if you think people are lying to you, if you want to get an overall vibe of someone. Insight, I think yes. Medicine, no. Persuasion or religion. I don't think religion, so definitely persuasion. So that's our main skills. Weapon proficiencies, simple weapons. So that will be right at the bottom over here. Weapons, simple. And armor training, light, medium, and shields. So we just click off light, medium, shields. Starting equipment, A or B, a bunch of stuff, or 110 gold. Because we're doing a quick character, we're just going to add in the equipment and make it super easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we get a chain shirt. You know what? I'm going to add one of those in there. Chain shirt, shields, a mace, a holy symbol, priest's pack, and 7 gold. So we already had 5. So that's 12 gold that we have now. Whew, so rich. Also, instead of a priest pack, you're probably going to want to know what that is and what's in there. So instead of playing the game and people are like, does anybody have rope? And you're like, I have a priest pack. And you have no idea what's in it. Instead, just go and like find out what's in it and then take that out and then put in all the stuff that you actually have so that you are able to use it in the game. Easy peasy. Plus, it's way more fun to know that you have vestments. So if the bard in your party wants to marry, I don't know, goblin number 4, you can put those vestments on and go ahead and do their ceremony. Or maybe you're the bard and I don't know, making a cleric thing here. Okay, so then we'll close that because we don't need it anymore. But make sure you have all of your equipment so that you actually know what it is. Otherwise, it's just too easy to mess it up. Okay, so that gave us our starting equipment. Now that that's done, you should absolutely read through your class and get to know it better. But because we're speedrunning, we're just gonna go ahead and put in our level 1 stuff. So we get to have spellcasting. Yay! So we're not going to add anything into that. And just because this particular video does does overall character creation, we're going to skip all of the spellcasting stuff. Yay, exciting. We'll come back to it later, don't worry. So whatever you have for your character class, just go ahead and put that information right into your sheet. Easy peasy. And it'll have whatever you have for level 1. Okay, so now that we've got that done, because we're only going to go as far as level 1 right now, we have our proficiency bonus in, spellcasting, and divine order. So divine order gives you protector or thaumaturge. We are going to choose... Does our edgelord care about protecting people? No. Proficiency with martial weapons and training with heavy armor. Edgelord with heavy armor. No, I don't think so. We're going to go with thaumaturge. So that means we get a +1 cantrip and arcana plus wisdom with arcana. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and that's all we need to worry about right this moment. So level 1. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to our handy dandy dice roller, and if you have 4d6, then you can use those instead, but you need 4 of them. And then we're going to go ahead and open our notepad, and we're going to make our roll. So that would be such a good roll, but we're going to re-roll it. So you're going to take your wow, just wow. And you're going to take out the lowest one. So add these 3 together, which in our case is 8, which is much worse than the other one. And you're going to do this 5 more times for 6 in total. So we'll roll again, and we get a little bit better. So go ahead and take your time and roll them. Wow, this character's gonna be dog food. Maybe? Wow, really all over the place. Okay, we are at 6. Okay, so now that that's done, we will head on back to our character sheet and bust out our numbers and put them wherever we want them. So because we're a cleric, if we were trying to min-max, we would put the 16 in wisdom, because that is what our primary ability is. If we don't care about it, we can put it wherever we want and base it on what we want. Because what we're thinking about is a cannibal who ran away from home. I feel like his intelligence is going to be really low, so we're going to go ahead and put an 8 in the intelligence. And I think it's... What do we want to do for that? We'll give him a 13. Your constitution is directly related to your health. So if you use that as a dump stat, you could have really, really low health and have like negative health. I mean, you won't have negative health, but it'll be much lower. I think we want to put... Do we want him to be kind of awkward, or do we want him to be good at deceiving people? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we're going to put 16 in our charisma. So he's actually really all about talking to people. And then we're going to put 14 here, which, if you are new, I probably would not recommend doing that. You're right. You're new people. We'll play it the way that a new people should play. That's not a should. You could put them however you want. But in order to be more effective, you want to put your highest stat where your primary ability is. If you don't care, then put it wherever you want. And we'll put a very weak orc. Maybe that's why he ran away from home and became an edgelord. Yeah. Okay, we're locking that in. Okay, so now that we've got rid of all of those, we can go ahead and get rid of them altogether. And that gives us our ability modifiers next. So there is this exact thing in the book, but I can't be bothered to go and find it, so I just opened a picture. And if you need to do anything, you can just Google it, because, you know, being lazy is the way to go sometimes. Alright, so because we have an 8 here, we go to the 8, and we get -1. -1 to intelligence and -1 to strength. Dexterity is gonna be +0. You could just put 0 too. Whatever you like. 13 +1. Ooh, +3. 14 is +2. We're really all over the place. Nice, well-balanced character. I'm for it. So now that we have these numbers in, they will directly correspond with the ones underneath them. So we're going to fill in the bubbles, or fill in the ones that do not have a bubble. So whatever this number is at the top, if it doesn't have a bubble, fill it in underneath. So all of these are -1. How sad. Okay, so these are all going to be 0. So you could just leave them blank if you prefer, but it is really up to you. And what do we have here? +3. Okay, so he's good at what he's good at and bad at what he's bad at. It could be worse than -1, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so now these ones that have the bubble, we are going to have this number at the top and this number together, the proficiency bonus, because you are proficient in it. So this becomes a +5. And so does these ones, because that's what we chose. And then this one is a 2 here and a 2 here, so these will be +4. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And we'll add in our weapons and armor. Actually, we'll do a quick little test on these. So now that you've got these all filled in, let's do some role play. You are going up to the most beautiful woman in the room. You're at a very noble party. You've been dressed up. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're anxious. Don't want to be there. Maybe you have a secret mission to apply. But the most beautiful woman in the room is standing in front of you. And you go up and you try to tell her that you are a famous prince or princess from another location and you're very important. And since I don't believe you, I'm going to ask you, depending on whatever your backstory is, please roll me a deception check. So you will take a d20 or head over here to your handy roll dice. And plop, there's your d20. You rolled an 11. So then you go back over and you'll be 11 plus your deception, which is +4. So we got a 15 on our deception. What did you get? But with our 15, you do an okay job. She doesn't really believe that you are a famous prince, but she believes that maybe you're somebody from somewhere. But she's willing to give you the time of day. All right, back to the gameplay. I mean, not gameplay, character creation. Let's get ready for combat. So if we go down over here, we can see that we have a mace. So we will add a mace into our weapons. And then we'll go over and add our information, which I don't have off the top of my head, and I highly doubt you do either. Oh, whoops, I did armor instead of weapons. Oops, that's okay, we'll need it anyways. So we go over to our weapons and we go to our mace. And this is going to be a 1d6. And because it doesn't have anything here that says finesse, it's going to be a strength. So we go over here and we add in our strength, which is -1. Amazing. So our attack bonus, but because we are proficient in it, thanks to our simple weapons, we get to add this. So it becomes -1 + 2 + 1. And then the damage is going to be 1d6 bludgeoning. So it'll be 1d6 -1. Bludgeoning. Oh, what an ugly word. Okay, so 1d6 -1 bludgeoning. That's why we shouldn't have terrible stats, but it's okay. It's fine. We're a cleric. We'll just use spells anyways. Okay, so we've got that ready to go. Next, let's add in our initiative. So this will determine how quick we get to go. And it's always going to be based off of your modifier unless says otherwise, your dexterity modifier. So our initiative is +0. How anticlimactic. Ah, so sad. Okay, so we've got that, and let's get our armor class underway. So if we look in here, we have a chain shirt and a shield. So go back over to our armor tab. We have a chain shirt, which is going to be 13 plus our dexterity modifier. So 13 plus 0. Yay! 13. And then we also have a shield. So bubble that in. And a shield is +2. So it gets bumped up to 15. Because obviously we will never ever lose or misplace or walk around without our shield ever. But if we do, our armor class will be down to 13 again. Okay, so we've got our weapon, our armor. Now we need our actual hit dice. So since we're starting at level 1, we're going to automatically get 8, which is our max, like our hit dice, plus our constitution modifier, which is going to be +1. So our level 1 health is going to be 9. So it'll be your hit dice plus your constitution modifier. So imagine if this was like a -3. Then it would be 8, 5. It would be 5 hit points. That's crazy. You could look at somebody the wrong way and die. Okay. And just to fill out our rest of our form, our passive perception over here is a really weird thing that I will write down in here because it's super annoying. It'll be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your perception. Okay, so it's 8. Right now our proficiency bonus is 2, and then our perception is +3. So +3 + 2, that's 5. So 8 plus 5, or 10 plus 3 is 13. I will leave this here for one more moment. Woohoo! 8 plus proficiency plus perception. Alright, we can get rid of that. Beautiful. Oh, we forgot to pick our subclass. Oh, wow. As a cleric, you don't really get a subclass until level 3. But that's okay. We'll get to it. So, we are essentially ready. If we were not a magic class, this character sheet would be done like dinner, ready to go. But since we are a magic class, we are going to head back over to our cleric sheet, and we're going to take a look at our spellcasting and figure that out. Unless they put in a magic spot somewhere, which maybe they did. No, I don't think so. Spells? Nope, I don't think so. We're just gonna go off of this. Okay, so our spell casting modifier is going to be our primary ability, which is wisdom, unless it tells you otherwise. But if we look in here where it says magic information stuff and things, it says wisdom is your spell casting ability, which is going to make wisdom modifier our spellcasting modifier. So it's going to be +3. So our spell attack bonus is going to be our modifier plus our proficiency bonus. So it's going to be +5 for us because it's our wisdom modifier plus proficiency bonus. I know, lots of math. You're doing great though. Absolutely great. Then our spell save DC is going to be 8. Another one. I'll write it down over here. 8 plus proficiency plus spell modifier. So we should just be 8 plus attack bonus, really. But so our proficiency right now is +2. So 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 plus our spell modifier, which is +3. I hope that makes sense. Clear as mud. Easy. So our spell save DC is 13. No plus on that one. I'll leave that open for another hot sec. Okay, so for our information, we're gonna look at this little table that tells us what we have and don't have. So to start off with, we are gonna get a certain amount of cantrips that we just get to know and have and be super awesome greatness at. And prepared spells. Okay, so for our prepared spells, there's not really a place to put it. So we're just going to write prepared spells, and then we're going to put 4. And that's how many prepared spells we get to have. Okay, can I delete this yet? Do you have it? Is it in your sheet? Do you have it properly? I'm going to delete it. And now we're going to do our 3 cantrips that we get to start off with, because it's right there. So there are lots of ways to get spells. I like to look at this D&D Beyond one because you can filter it on my computer. So we'll go ahead and go to class, and we'll pick our class, and then we will filter. And we'll actually also add in cantrip because that's what we need right now. Okay, so out of these we get to choose 3 of them. And what does an Edgelord wand. So because it's a cantrip, you can use it as many times as you want. It's level 0. So all 3 of them are going to be level 0. And we're going to get guidance because every cleric should have guidance. It is a 60-foot range. No, it's not. It's touch. I lied. It is touch, and it gives a plus 1d4 to whoever you touch. Light creates a light. Mending is not a healing spell, just a heads up. That is to basically, if you break a necklace, it will repair the necklace for you. These are pretty straightforward. This one lets somebody stay alive, which is kind of, a good thing for a cleric to have, but instead we could do a Sacred Flame, because we're edgelords and we need that, and thaumaturgy. Thaumaturgy basically makes, oh, see, I'm back to saying basically a billion times. I'm telling you, drinking game. Thaumaturgy makes your eyes go black or your voice get really loud or things like that. Things that an edgelord needs. That's gonna be, is it self? Pretty sure it's self. But since I don't know for sure, I'll leave it. But if you click on this, it'll just tell you what it can do, what your range is. Oh, it's 30 feet. And then you can put that information in and make it easy on yourself. And since we're adding Sacred Flame, we can go ahead and add that into our weapons and damage cantrips. So we'll add Sacred Flame, which is going to be an attack bonus of our spell, unless it's a save. It is a saving throw. So our spell save DC is 13. So we put DC 13. Okay, and the damage is going to be 1d8 radiant. 1d8 radiant. Radiant. Okay, beautiful. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I just pushed a different button, I think. I don't know. Okay, so when you reach level 5, it goes up. That doesn't affect us right now. No benefit from cover, flame, dexterity saving throw is what we'll put. Dexterity saving throw. Awesome. Now, oops, I forgot to add the 8 there. Whew, could have been bad. Now, if we're in the middle of combat and I want to shoot this goblin with the Sacred Flame, basically a little flame will come out of my hands, and it needs to make a dexterity saving throw of 13, which means it needs to roll this d20. Oops. Roll a d20, and it rolled a 14. So depending on whatever its dexterity is for this number, it may make it or it may not make it. But it looks like it's going to make it, so it'll do no damage. But if it fails, then we will get to roll a 1d8 and do 5 damage to that goblin. Woohoo! Okay. Next, we add in our spells. So, how spells work are kind of complicated. The spell slot level is... the way I'll explain it is with these actually open. That's how we'll do it. So, we'll go back to filter. And we do first and second. Perfect. Oh, they're not in order. Oh, I just have to put them in order. Okay, so all of these ones that say first on there, up to Shield of Faith, we can use those because we have level 1 spell slots. And right now, according to our book, we only have 2 level 1 spell slots. So we can go ahead and knock off anything that's not that. So we could like just cross those out kind of thing. It's much easier on paper, but you know, put like a little line there so that you know where your slots are at. But because we're making this character higher level, we're gonna just skip it because we're going to level 3. So we get all 4 of these and that. So we'll just knock those out. Where'd my spells go? There we go. Okay, so we get to choose which spells we know, and so we should take a look at these and figure out which ones would be the best for us. And because we only have first level spell slots at level 1, we should choose some level 1 spell slots. A good one would be Cure Wounds if you're trying to heal people. Since we're an edgelord cannibal, I don't know if we want to heal people. Maybe we want to kill them and eat them instead. Just kidding, that's not a very player thing to do. Okay, so overall, we got our spells. When we get them, we just put them in, write what they are, what they need, the information about it. Let's say we had Healing Word. We would open it, add that into our little list as a level 1 spell slot, Healing Word. And then we could have our casting time, which is 1 bonus action. It is 60 feet, I'm pretty sure, 60 feet bonus action, 2d4, oops, heal 2d4 plus your spell modifier 3. So anytime you need to heal someone, you can cast it with that. And then you can update all your information. So besides that, everything you need is totally done. And since you're leveling up more, don't forget to go back into your class and choose the stuff, like update the things that you are. And because you're choosing a subclass at level 3, go ahead and look through here and see which one you want to go with. So Life Domain is a cleric that wants to heal all the time. A Light Domain is not very edgelord, so we're obviously not going to choose that. Trickery Domain seems pretty edgy. We could go Trickery. War Domain, also pretty trickery, or not trickery, pretty edgy, and people die in war. And then we could eat them, so maybe we go War Domain. War or Trickery? Let's roll a dice. If it is a 1 or a 2, it's a Trickery. If it's a 3 or 4, War. It's a 2. We're going Trickery. Okay, so then we just go ahead and pop this information that is here into our class features list after adding our level 2 stuff. And then when we update our health, we're going to roll our D8. So we got a 1. Oh, worst health. So it'll be 9 plus 1, so 10, and then it'll be plus our constitution modifier, so plus another 1. So we're up to 11 health. Yay! And then we're going to do it again because we're going to level 3. Oh, brutal. Okay, so we get another 2 health. 13 at level 3. That is unfortunate. But it is what it is. Okay, so for our subclass, we will put in Trickery. Beautiful. And just like that, we need to make a character name, and then we will be complete, besides adding the other information, which I won't do in this video because we're done. Woohoo! a cannibal, edgelord who's poor, run away from his parents. I think his name needs to be Harold. I think Harold is an appropriate name for him. Harold, the war cleric. It's an edgy last name for Harold. Harold something Death Finder. Yeah, Harold Deathfinder. The edgiest of the edge. With the hair. He belongs in a band. Awesome. So that is everything you need to make your D&D character. I hope this is helpful and you're able to get everything done and sorted and feel super good about it. Also, if you're going to write your equipment, make sure that it doesn't have this little arrow thing if you're trying to print it out, because you'll just lose all the stuff that's
Enjoy
in
your
there.
game.
Ideally, print it out first and then put it in. Also, everybody gets to know common, or maybe not common, maybe it's whatever they start with. So we're an orc, so we get to know orcish. Beautiful.